Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Dancing with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary catechism written by Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami, a richly illustrated sourcebook of Indian spirituality in question and answer form, exploring how to know the divine, honor all creation, and see God everywhere, in everyone. Today's lesson is lesson 50, and we'll begin by reading the caption to the facing image. Many seek to avoid the world, judging it fraught with suffering and imperfection. Though the world is not as idyllic as the scene where all live in fabled harmony, when seen in the fullness of time and purpose, it is bountiful and not to be feared. Lesson 50. Should one avoid worldly involvement? Loka 50. The world is the bountiful creation of a benevolent God who means for us to live positively in it, facing karma and fulfilling dharma. We must not despise or fear the world. Life is meant to be lived joyously. Aum Namah Sivaya. Bhashya. The world is the place where our destiny is shaped, our desires fulfilled, and our soul matured. In the world, we grow from ignorance into wisdom, from darkness into light, and from a consciousness of death to immortality. The whole world is an ashrama in which all are doing sadhana. We must love the world, which is God's creation. Those who despise, hate, and fear the world do not understand the intrinsic goodness of all. The world is a glorious place not to be feared. It is the gracious gift from Shiva himself, a playground for his children in which to interrelate young souls with the old, the young experiencing their karma, while the old hold firmly to their dharma. The young grow, the old know. Not fearing the world does not give us permission to become immersed in worldliness. To the contrary, it means remaining affectionately detached, like a drop of water on a lotus leaf, being in the world but not of it, walking in the rain without getting wet. The Vedas warn, "Behold the universe in the glory of God, and all that lives and moves on earth. Leaving the transient, find joy in the eternal. Set not your heart on another's possession." Aum Namah Sivaya. Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Living with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary culture, written by Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. 365 daily lessons based on ancient Vedic laws disclosing how to approach family, money, relationships, technology, food, worship, yoga, and karma to live a truly spiritual life. Today's lesson is lesson 50, and the topic is scriptural listening. Siddhanta shravana, scriptural study, the sixth niyama, is the end of the search. Prior to this end, prior to finding the Sadguru, we are free to study all the scriptures of the world, of all religions, relate and interrelate them in our mind, manipulate their meanings, and justify their final conclusions. We are free to study all of the sects and sampradayas, all denominations, lineages, and teachings, everything under the banner of Hinduism. The Saivites, the Vaishnavites, Smartas, Ganapatis, Ayyappans, Shaktas and Murugans and their branches. Scriptures within Hinduism are voluminous. The methods of teaching are awesome in their multiplicity. As for teachers, there's one on every corner in India. Ask a simple question of an elder and he is duty-bound to give a lengthy response from the window he is looking out of, opened by the sampradaya he or his family has subscribed to, maybe centuries ago, of one or another sect within this great pantheon we call Hinduism. Before we come to the fullness of Siddhanta shravana, we're also free to investigate psychologies, psychiatries, pseudosciences, ways of behavior of the human species, existentialism, humanism, secular humanism, materialism, and the many other modern isms, which are so multitudinous and still multiplying. Their spokesmen are many. Libraries are full of them. All the isms and ologies are there, and they beckon, hands outstretched to receive, to seduce, sometimes even seize the seeker. The seeker on the path of Siddhanta shravana, who is at least relatively successful at the 10 restraints, must make a choice. He knows he has to. He knows he must. He has just entered the consciousness of the Muladhara chakra and is becoming steadfast on the upward climb. Have full faith that when your guru does appear, after you have made yourself ready through the 10 restraints and the first 5 practices, you will know in every nerve current of your being that this is your guide on the path through the next 5 practices. 1. Siddhanta shravana, scriptural study, following one verbal lineage and not pursuing any others. 2. Mati, cognition, developing a spiritual will and intellect with the Guru's guidance. 3. Vrata, sacred vows, fulfilling religious vows, rules, and observances faithfully. 4. Japa, recitation of holy mantras. Here we seek initiation from the Guru to perform this practice. And 5. Tapas, performing austerity, sadhana, penance, and sacrifice, also under the Guru's guidance. Siddhanta shravana is a discipline, an ancient traditional practice in Sadguru lineages to carry the devotee from one chakra in consciousness to another. Each sampradaya defends its own teachings and principles against other sampradayas to maintain its pristine purity and admonishes followers from investigating any of them. Such exploration of other texts should all be done before seeking to fulfill Siddhanta shravana. Once under the direction of and having been accepted by a guru, any further delving into extraneous doctrines would be disapproved and disallowed. Siddhanta shravana is more than just focusing on a single doctrine. It is developing through scriptural study an entirely new mind fabric, subconsciously and consciously, which will entertain an explanation for all future prarabdha karmas and karmas created in this life to be experienced for the duration of the physical life of the disciple. Siddhanta shravana is even more. It lays the foundation for initiation within the fabric of the nerve system of the disciple. Even more, it portrays any differences in his thinking, the guru's thought, the sampradayas principles, philosophy, and underlying practices. Sutra 50 of the Nandinada Sutras. Moderate appetite and purity. All devotees of Shiva observe mitahara, moderation in appetite, not eating too much or consuming meat, fish, shellfish, fowl, or eggs. They uphold shaucha, avoiding impurity in body, mind, and speech. Aum Namah Sivaya. Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Merging with Shiva, Hinduism's Contemporary Metaphysics, written by Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. 365 enlightenment lessons from a mystical master revealing the depths of Raja Yoga, the clear white light, the states of mind, and the ultimate spiritual destiny of every seeker. Today's lesson is lesson 50, and the topic is Beyond Past and Future. Whenever man comes to the point in his evolution where he has sufficient mastery in the mind to produce things, he suffers for the lack of peace. For in his activity on the mental spheres, in conceiving, planning, gathering the forces together, and finally viewing the outcome as a physical manifestation, he has exercised an intricate control over the nerve fibers of his mind. Thus caught in this pattern, he must go on producing to ensure his mental security. For should he stop for a moment, the whiplash upon his senses as the generative functions cease to be active would cause paranoid depressions, at times almost beyond repair. The man looking into the where and when of the future, blending his energies with those who are also striving to evolve into a more ramified state of mind, can suffer well if he keeps going, producing, acquiring, and believing that materiality is reality. Evolution of the species takes its toll, for as man's mind evolves, he is no longer content projecting into the where and when of the material consciousness, and as he seeks some reward for peace for his efforts, he begins to look into the past for solutions, the there and then of it all. Thus finding himself born into a cross-section of awareness between past and future, having experienced both of these tendencies of the mind, causes him to reflect. Philosophy holds few answers for him. Its congested mass of shoulds and don'ts, he knows, has proved more to the philosopher who cleared his mind on paper than to the reader who has yet to complement with inner knowing its indicated depths. Occultism is intriguing to him, for it shows that there are possibilities of expression beyond the senses he has become well accustomed to using. But again, evolution rounding his vision causes him to discard the occult symbolism, laws, and practices as another look into the past or future of the mind's depths. The idea of yoga, union through perceptive control of the flow of thought and of the generative processes of a perceptive idea before thought is formed, is most satisfying. The cognition of the actinic process of life currents intrigues him, and he looks further into the practice of yoga techniques and finds that peace is gained through a conscious government, first of the life currents through the body, and second of the realm of ideas as they flow into thought. And while remaining the observer of it all in the eternity of the here and now, the seeker fully realizes that time, space, and causation are only indicated through holding an off-balance consciousness of past and future. And that's it for today's lesson. Take care of yourself, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Aum Namah Sivaya.